If you want to feel how a soul shakes before it finally wakes up, then listen closely, because what I'm about to say is not just a message. It's a mirror you've been avoiding. You know that feeling when your breath slows, your heartbeat drops into your stomach, and the world around you blurs for a moment because something inside you whispers, "This is your turning point." That quiet voice, that thin line between certainty and collapse, between desire and restraint, between what you want and what you fear, this is where your story actually begins. Not in comfort, not in control, but in that trembling space where silence feels louder than truth and every choice feels like fate tightening its grip on you. I want you to imagine you're standing in front of someone you love, or maybe someone you used to love, and the room is so silent that you can hear their breathing. You can see every thought hidden behind their eyes. You can feel that familiar pull in your chest, the warmth, the longing, the frustration, the unresolved electricity that never truly disappears. And yet you hold yourself like a mountain, still, calm, silent, because you've learned that sometimes silence carries more power than shouting, more clarity than explanations, more honesty than words you keep rehearsing in your mind. But even calmness can feel like suspense when your heart refuses to let go. You stand there pretending to be unmoved, pretending that your composure is natural, pretending that you aren't fighting the storm inside you. And they have no idea how close you are to letting the truth fall out of your mouth, raw and real, the truth that you want them, the truth that you want connection, the truth that you want peace, but you also want fire, the truth that your soul aches, not because you are weak, but because you care. And caring in silence is its own kind of battlefield. This is where Stoic philosophy becomes something more than a concept. It becomes survival. It becomes a shield. It becomes the voice that says, you can feel deeply without losing control. You can want passionately without begging for validation. You can burn with desire and still remain the master of your choices. That balance between restraint and craving, between emotional control and human instinct, creates a tension that most people never learn to hold. They chase pleasure without discipline. They avoid pain without reflection. They want relationships without responsibility. They want intimacy without vulnerability. They want the thrill without the patience. But you, if you're still listening, are not most people. You're someone who's beginning to understand that the deepest attraction, the strongest relationships, the ones that challenge you and change you and sharpen you, are built on a kind of silent power, a presence that doesn't need to shout to be felt, a confidence that doesn't need to beg to be chosen, a strength that doesn't need chaos to prove itself. Have you ever noticed how the most magnetic people are often the quietest? The ones who don't rush, who don't chase, who don't crumble under pressure. They carry themselves like they have nothing to prove because they've already fought themselves and survived. They don't try to be interesting, they simply are. Their silence is not emptiness, it's depth. Their calmness is not passivity, it's control. Their attention is not desperation, it's intentional. And maybe, just maybe, that's what someone once saw in you, or what someone still sees in you, even if the two of you are caught in a storm of mixed signals, unfinished conversations, or that slow, burning tension that sits between friendship and something more. There are moments late, night moments when you wonder if they think about you too, if their breath catches at the memory of your presence, if their heartbeat trips when they see your name. And you pretend not to care, but the truth is you do. You care more than you admit, more than you show, more than you're willing to say out loud. But Stoicism teaches you something dangerous in the best way. It teaches you to hold your feelings without letting them control you. It teaches you to desire without becoming dependent. It teaches you to love without losing yourself. It teaches you that you can want someone, crave their warmth, imagine their touch, their closeness, their voice whispering into the darkness, but still remain disciplined, still remain whole, still remain grounded. This is suspense not created by chaos, but by control. By choosing silence over emotional impulsiveness, by choosing patience over pressure, by choosing character over craving. And that's what modern relationships lack. Everyone is rushing, everyone is overwhelmed, everyone is triggered, defensive, afraid, wounded, reactive. Everyone demands instant gratification, but real connection, real attraction thrives in stillness, in curiosity, in controlled tension, in the kind of energy where you can look someone in the eyes and, without touching them, make them feel everything. Picture this: you're sitting across from the person you're drawn to. Neither of you is speaking, but the air is heavy, electric, almost dangerous. You sense something shifting. You feel their attention on your skin like heat. You notice the pause in their breath, that barely visible hesitation that says they're thinking something they're afraid to say. And in that moment, your mind drifts, not toward fear, but toward clarity, toward what you've learned from every heartbreak, every disappointment, every silent night where you swore you'd never let someone break your peace again. It's in that moment that you realize how far you've come. You're no longer desperate to be understood. You're no longer afraid of being alone. You're no longer willing to lose yourself for the sake of closeness. And yet the desire is still there, strong, warm, human, but healthy now. Stoicism doesn't ask you to stop feeling. It asks you to stop surrendering to emotions that destroy your balance. It asks you to stop chasing people who feed off your insecurity. It asks you to stop wasting energy on what is outside your control. It asks you to take full ownership of the one thing you do control: yourself. Your actions, your mindset, your boundaries, your responses. And this is what creates that powerful, suspenseful aura people can't ignore. When you can stay calm in conflict, when you can stay respectful under pressure, when you can walk away from disrespect without rage, when you can desire someone deeply but still choose discipline over impulsiveness, that blend, emotion held by restraint, is intoxicating. It's the kind of presence that draws people closer, makes them curious, makes them nervous, makes them wonder what's happening behind your quiet eyes. And in relationships, especially in male-female dynamics, this energy becomes magnetic, not manipulative, not cold but grounded, mature, confident, focused, the kind of energy that makes someone feel safe, seen, and challenged all at once. Because, let's be honest, attraction without depth is empty, desire without discipline is chaos, intimacy without emotional intelligence collapses, and silence without purpose becomes distance. But when silence is intentional, when presence is steady, when your energy communicates more than your words, then you become unforgettable. And if you've ever felt like you were too emotional, too intense, too complicated, too passionate, understand this: your depth is not the problem. Your lack of mastery over it was. Stoicism is not suppression, it's transformation. It allows you to feel everything with clarity instead of confusion, with strength instead of desperation. So imagine a future version of you, standing in a room with the same person who once made your hands shake, your heart race, your mind spiral. But this time you're different, this time you're steady, this time you're calm, this time the suspense comes from your confidence, not your anxiety. And suddenly they look at you differently. They see what they missed. They see what they lost. They see what they never understood. And without you saying a single word, the silence between you speaks the truth. You have grown beyond the version of yourself who once begged for clarity, attention, affection, or closeness. But growth doesn't mean you stop wanting connection. Stoicism doesn't make you numb. It makes you intentional. So when you choose someone now, you choose them from strength, not fear. You choose them from conviction, not loneliness. You choose them because they align with your values, not because they distract you from your wounds. And maybe that person is someone new, or maybe it's someone who's been in your life quietly, watching you evolve. Or maybe it's someone from your past who now sees what they couldn't before. Whoever it is, the version of you speaking now is different. Stronger, clearer, harder to manipulate, yet easier to connect with. Harder to tempt, yet easier to trust. The suspense of love isn't in the chaos, it's in the self-control. The surprises don't come from drama, they come from discipline. The intimacy doesn't come from constant talking. It comes from the quiet moments where two people feel something powerful without needing to explain it. And yes, there will be moments of physical closeness in your future, moments where the tension finally breaks, where the silence turns into touch, where the restraint turns into connection. But those moments will be stronger because they were earned, not rushed. They will feel cleaner, deeper, more meaningful, because they are built on knowing yourself, not losing yourself. On choosing, not clinging, on strength, not fear. The truth is, the world is filled with noise people talking too much, revealing too much, exposing too much of their insecurity and too little of their strength. But you are learning to be different, to speak when necessary, to remain silent when valuable, to observe before engaging, to understand before reacting, to feel without collapsing, to desire without losing direction. And this version of you, this stoic, self-controlled, quietly powerful version, is exactly who you were meant to be all along. Picture your future now, your life calmer, your relationships healthier, your boundaries clear, your presence grounded. The right people will feel drawn to you without you trying. The wrong people will feel uncomfortable and drift away without you forcing it. And you, standing steady in the center of your own life, will feel something you haven't felt in a long time: peace. Not the peace that comes from solitude, but the peace that comes from control. The peace that comes from knowing who you are. The peace that comes from choosing your actions instead of letting your emotions choose for you.